What's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first podcast of the Bolts Breakdown podcast. My name is Boomer.
I'm Tommy.
And we are excited to be here to talk all things Tampa Bay Lightning. Bolts Breakdown exists at its very core just for Tampa Bay Lightning fans. It currently has two formats. There's a blog that is free to subscribe, goes right to your inbox, your email inbox, every single Monday. That includes game recaps, highlights, random stats, like all of the records Nikita Kucherov is breaking. It's more formal, long written, but sometimes you don't have time to read. So now, for the very first time today, we're bringing a podcast format for Bolts Breakdown. Same purpose, to engage with Bolts Nation, keep everybody up to date, break down all the stories, all the news, all the games, really just to interact with Bolts Nation. We are both huge Lightning fans, and the goal of Bolts Breakdown is to help people enjoy their fandom of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Yeah. So we're excited. It's a work in progress. We're going to evolve as we go, but we're really excited to start this. So, Tommy, why don't you tell people who you are? How did you become a Bolts fan? Who's your favorite player? Kind of give your Bolts profile.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Well, I'd love to share that. So, first of all, thanks, Boomer, for having me on and starting this together. I'm excited. Well, I like to say, I'm not a native Tampanian, but I feel like a real Tampanian now. I've lived kind of in and out of Tampa area since about 2017. So my story with hockey and the Bolts kind of goes back to when I grew up. So I grew up in Fort Myers, which is like 2 hours south of Tampa here. And I grew up with Florida Everblades season tickets for a couple years when I was like 4 and 5 years old. And so for those of you who don't know, the Everblades are currently an affiliate of St. Louis, but they were previously an affiliate for multiple other teams. When I was a little kid, it was for the Hurricanes. And so they played, ECHL, all those teams. And so it was kind of rougher hockey, I would say, like lots of fighting and stuff like that. But
paving their way.
Exactly. Yeah. But my dad had season tickets, and we were like second row, right next to the visiting penalty box. And so it was like super fun.
Lots of chirping.
My little ears probably had no idea what was happening, but I just remember my mom used to bring like cups of coffee because it was cold, right next to the ice, and they would slam into the boards, and she would freak out and throw the coffee everywhere, and like so these are just like good memories when I was 4, 5, 6, and so I liked hockey from that. And we actually have a picture I have looking at right now of myself when I was like 5 maybe, with my dad and my grandfather, and we were in front of the Kelly Cup, which is like the ECHL's Stanley Cup, and so. I just really got into hockey from that, I think, and was exposed to it. A little bit later on, I went to my first Bolts game, and the first time I ever went, we got some of those box seats where they have all-you-can-eat buffets.
Some of the box seats.
Yeah. And I was like peel and eat shrimp and whatever soda you want. As like an 8-year-old, I was like, this is amazing.
Hockey games are the best.
I know. So I thought Lightning was like the peak of hockey, and so I really enjoyed it.
It is.
I mean, come on, right? Now I know that for real. But I actually have I got my own jersey too. I mean, you can
same night.
Take a look. Not the same night, but soon after that, I think around that time, I got a jersey with my name on it in the back.
Oh, there you go.
And it was like an alternate jersey. I was really getting into the fandom, but that was when I was younger, and then I went through high school and everything, and I moved to Tampa in 2017 for college. Went to college at University of South Florida here in Tampa, and went to my first Bolts game. I actually looked this up too. October 21st, 2017 was my first Bolts game. It was Bolts Pens. Jake Gensel was on that team. Fun enough. So actually, we won that game 7-1 against the Penguins. And fun fact, Gensel is the only goal scorer for the Pittsburgh Penguins that day. And so funny enough, but I saw seven Tampa Bay Lightning goals on my first time as an adult seeing a game, and that got me hooked. So and then of course after that was in 2017. 18-19, the huge regular season, right? So I followed with some of my friends, and then 19 through 2021 basically was like the first round sweep, and then the back-to-back cups. It was like the best time to be a hockey fan in Tampa, and then I was really hooked. So I would say, you asked about favorite player. I would say favorite player over time has been Yanni Gourde. So Gordo's my guy.
Yeah.
He's got that pep in his step. He's small. You know, I'm small. I'm like 5'8" myself, and he's I think the same height or close. And I always had that fight in him. And then he went to Seattle, and I was like sad,
devastated. We all were. Bolts Nation.
Yeah, I know. But then we kind of came back, and he made it back to Tampa, and so it's fun to see him again after. Almost 10 years now of being a real more diehard, I guess you would say, Bolts fan. But and I remember specifically that first day, October 2017, I declared that I would never go to a Bolts game without Bolts gear again.
There you go.
And so, yeah, I got myself a jersey, you know, the hats, all that kind of stuff, and it went from there. So I don't really know too much about yours, except that you came from you're from here, right? I mean, so you grew up here. What's your story?
Yep. So I am one of 5 brothers, and we've been here our entire lives. So we were born technically in Lutz, but right on that northern border,
like 20 minutes
of Tampa, right? Yeah. And my dad had season tickets growing up, so
we
would rotate through, and each of the boys would get to go to a game with dad, and that was kind of our thing. We're big sports family.
Yeah.
And actually, growing up, as many Lightning games as I had the privilege of going to, I was never like a die-hard Lightning fan growing up. I was actually into the NFL.
Season tickets and no die-hard.
Right.
That's crazy.
I always enjoyed going to the games more so than any other sport.
Yeah.
But when it came to watching it on TV, I was like, I'm going to pick the NFL. I'm choosing the NFL because I'm a die-hard Seahawks fan.
Well, that's why you're a Seahawks fan.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of still am. I don't know. So I actually grew up big Seahawks fan. Like when we won the Super Bowl, I had like the Seahawks logo carved in my head. It was like a whole big
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I was a huge fan, but that was my teenage years. And as I grew older and appreciated what sports were about, I was like, I'm not really into the NFL as much. And I started craving like a more team sport, a sport that could be for everyone to get involved, to like. And I found like a specific person liked the NFL, right? And then I started like losing interest in sitting there and giving away all my Sundays. And it's still super fun, but it was just like, if I'm a family man, I don't want to spend my Sundays and my Thursday nights, my Monday nights just watching the NFL. So that was like, well, what about the Lightning? I've always liked them. Let's get more into them.
And so you just chose to get into them, basically.
Sort of, yeah. I was like, I'm going to start caring about them. And then as I started caring about them...
You started caring about them.
Yeah. I mean, it's unbelievable. We win the President's Trophy, and we get swept, and we're caught up in all this emotion. Then we went back-to-back, and it's like...
So we were having like a tandem, like... I don't know, fandom almost, right?
Once I was hooked, it was like there's no turning back. And so for the past like 4 or 5 years, I've been just all Lightning. Like I still say I'm a Seahawks fan, but I would rather watch a random Western Conference NHL game than the Seahawks.
Yeah, wow.
I would. I like the NHL. I like how it brings everybody in. I like how it's they're shorter games. They're more accessible games, and the team aspect of hockey. There's nothing better than the team aspect of hockey. I'll never forget seeing like Steven Stamkos, greatest captain ever to play a game, right? Stand up for his players. Like when he drops the gloves because Brady Point goes crashing into the boards after like an illegal play. I mean, you just get fired up.
I mean, Vasti in the Stadium Series.
Yeah, like, Vasti's standing up for his guys, and then we come back.
Like peak cinema and sport.
Yes. Yeah. So when I got a taste of that as a more grown person, I wasn't quite an adult yet, but when I got a taste of that, it was like, I'm not going back to the NFL. I'm all NHL. So I've been diehard, and that's what really led me to create Bolts Breakdown.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, is like, okay, so you like the sport, you like the team, but now you're writing a weekly blog with like tons of information of like research, all this kind of stuff. Like, what made the jump from like, I like the team to I write the team?
Right. So I don't work for the team. I'm not affiliated with the team. It's really just like, it's come from a passion, love of the game, love of the team, and I want more people to have that. Like, I genuinely love it. My wife and I are huge fans, and that's like something we enjoy to do together. And I think that bonds people, and I think there's a beauty of the game of hockey, and especially the Lightning. And so Bolts Breakdown is just an effort to help people get there. It can be a lot to follow the team. Like, we play 82 games, 84 next season. And that can be a lot if you have a full-time job, you have kids. We're moving 84. But it can be a lot. And so I want to basically take all of the information that I crave as a Lightning fan and put it in one spot so it's more accessible for people to enjoy. And then hopefully with Bolts Breakdown, like the podcast, with the blog, more people will like the Lightning. and it'll just grow the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's already such a community. I feel like, I mean, you've had what sort of half season tickets this year, right?
Yeah,
so you're going
we
to
split
lots
them with
of,
my dad. Yep.
Yeah, so you're going to lots of games, and so you see the community pretty consistently. Like, there's such an air and a vibe, even going in, 300 section. You're like, those are the fans, right? Like,
yeah,
in
those
the corner,
are the diehards.
Those are the
fans.
diehards. You get the chants.
There's
going,
a reason all
so.
the chants start upstairs.
Oh yeah, right. So, but it makes you think. Okay, so your Bolts breakdown now. That's this thing exists to help fans, right? But what is Bolts breakdown's favorite player, right? What's Boomer's favorite player? What
Boomer's
about that?
favorite, Bolts
What about
breakdown's
that?
favorite is Gage Gonsalves.
Okay.
I have been
Gage.
on this guy
Okay.
from the very beginning. I remember I need to look it up and I need to find it so I can give it. But one of his first 2 games back in 23-24 season. He only played 2 games in the NHL.
Okay.
There was a play where the puck was being cleared out of the zone and Gonzo, Gage Gonsalves, smacked the puck out of the air to keep it in our zone.
Yeah.
And the play continued. I don't even know if we scored. But I was like, man, that guy can play. Like, who is that guy? And then as I watched him, he only played the 2 games that year. But as he came up next year and as I saw him through, like, development camp, things like that, his work ethic is just, it's not unparalleled because obviously Kucherov.
Yeah, I mean, it can't
but
be
it's
that.
like Kucherov.
Yeah,
I wrote an article over the summer comparing Gage Gonsalves to Nikita Kucherov. And I know that's crazy. I'm not saying Gage Gonsalves is Nikita Kucherov or ever will be.
Bold
That's
comparison.
impossible. No one's like Kuch. But Gage Gonsalves has a similar work ethic that I love. And I love to see him, especially now this season, we've seen him start to forecheck like crazy and disrupt plays.
Yeah.
Great offense for superstars like Braden Point, Jake Gensel, Nikita Kucherov, whoever he's with. So that work ethic is what I like about Gonzo, but I just think he's a superstar. I think he has that vision, that like hockey IQ that's going to go a long way for many, many years. So.
I feel like it's interesting because Gordo and Gonzo are very similar in a lot of ways. Like, they both got the fight. I feel like Gordo's maybe got more of the physicality and Gonzo's got more of the skill of those two guys. But I feel like they're very similar, and like you watch them on the ice on the forecheck, like they also love playing hockey. Like, every time I watch like a behind the scenes of either of those guys, I feel like there's like smiling, especially Gordo.
Oh yeah.
But
Gordo never stops smiling.
I mean, he doesn't stop smiling.
So my wife's favorite player is Gordo too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we always talk, like, we'll see the arrival photos.
Yeah.
And he's always smiling. Always.
Yeah, he's in his car. He's just like smirking. And you're like,
You see a scrum after the play.
Yeah.
And he's getting like mobbed. Someone's arm is around him. His helmet flies up. He comes up and he's ear to ear smiling.
Yesterday he was trying to get into a fight with, who was that? Jack-Eye or Anderson or something?
I think,
one of those guys,
way
right?
out of his weight
Way
class.
out of. They even said on the broadcast that he's like, 50, 60 pounds lighter and like 6 or 7 inches shorter, right? Something like crazy like that. But that actually does bring me to the games. So another part of the podcast, of course, we're going to talk about the games. And we had a kind of interesting week this week, I feel like.
Sure.
So, I mean, we had 4 games, right? We had Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday, right? And we had the Kraken, the Senators, the Predators, and then the Canadians.
Right.
And they were all very, very different. For those of you who did not watch those games, we had, oh my gosh, now I'm blanking on which ones we won. Well, we lost yesterday, right?
Right.
We beat the Predators, we beat the Senators, and we lost in overtime to the Kraken, right? So we got our points. However, I feel like our play was drastically different in almost every single game. And there was like a line that was through all of them of bad starts for almost all of them, except for the Canadians, which we'll talk about here in a bit. But
but it's 6 straight games at least where we've surrendered the first goal.
Yeah.
Where we've had to come back in order to win.
Yeah, but let's go into the game specifically. So I kind of have just very, very little points on each one to kind of get us an idea of what happened. So with the Kraken, just like the other games, the Senators and the Predators, we started off terribly, right? I mean, the first period, we were terrible. I don't have all the stats and stuff like that in front of me, but you wrote it all in your blog. So, I mean, we got that covered. But I just remember watching them as a fan and just being like, we suck right now. Like, what are we doing right now? But somehow, especially in those other 3 that we actually got a point in, I was like, we're getting points or winning games, which means, like John Cooper said in one of the interviews, that they are playing really good hockey in second and third periods, But what did he say? He said we could put a playlist of all the first periods we played the past week, and it would be an elite video on how not to play hockey. Yeah. I loved that.
I mean, that's one of the Cooperisms, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, he comes up with these brilliant sayings. Yeah. But it's true. I mean, the first periods have been horrible. Yeah. And it's like, it's almost like, why are we starting so poorly?
Well, nobody knows. I feel like they've all been asked that question, and they say, we don't really know. Corey Perry has talked about that the team needs to get emotional because he's partially in there, like, you know, starting the fight, or when somebody like Hagel or Gord starts a fight with somebody, it gets the emotion pumping. But when you're playing a team like the Kraken, you don't really have that much to play. Like,
it's a Western Conference team
who's fighting for a spot in the playoffs. Who's trying to, right? Yeah. But we don't necessarily have a lot of bad blood against them. And I think maybe the Predators, same situation, except that Stamkos is there, so could be a little bit of that. But I mean, once we got it going, though, against like the Senators, we were boiling, right? We were moving, we were on the forecheck.
Really, in all the games, once we started going, we were that team that won 20 of 22.
That's true, but we can't play 2 out of 3 periods. No, right? I mean, that's not how you win games.
It's the hockey cliche, and a lot of the guys are using it for whatever reason. But the full 60, right? They always talk about that. You got to play the full 60.
I don't know anybody who plays the full 60, though.
Yeah, it's impossible.
It's impossible. I think it's like, do you capitalize on chances when you have them? Right. And I think yesterday against Montreal was a good example. I wonder if we want to go more into that game. What were your thoughts about, like, just
the Montreal game specifically?
Yeah, specifically Montreal game.
Sure. So it's funny. John Cooper has this quote. He says all the time, sometimes you win the game and not the score.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Right?
Yeah,
so that was a couple of the games. Like, I thought a couple of the games that we won't talk about now, but I've thought there's been times where we haven't necessarily won the game, but we've still won the score. Yeah. Like, you get that puck luck and you still win. Yeah. I thought Montreal was one of the games, like John Cooper always says, where you win the game but not the score. Yeah. There's a website that maybe some of you know. I don't know if you know it. It's called Money Puck. But they do, like, simulations, like over 1,000 games. If you replay it, who's going to win? Yeah. It's basically looking at, like, expected goals for, like, how many chances. And Money Puck said the Lightning win the game against the Canadiens 66% of the time.
Wow.
Right, but we lost 4-1.
Yeah, but so it wasn't really 4-1. It was 2-1.
Right. It's a one-goal game in the final minutes.
Yeah. But we didn't. It's not without our chances, though. Like, I feel like we had all the chances, and I think John Cooper said it himself. Of like, there was a tracking error, right?
Yeah. And Moser and Radish, especially.
Yeah. And
on that second goal,
the first goal was just a good play on a 5-on-3, right?
5-on-3, yeah.
What else are you supposed to do there?
Slavkovsky is an Olympian. And if you watch the Olympics, he had a great performance. Like, that's a great shot, and we're 5-on-3. Yeah. Like, I mean, you can't gripe. Vasilevsky doesn't make that save. Like, if you want to gripe something, don't take the penalties.
Well, I mean, that's what I told you. I texted you. Didn't I text you during the game yesterday?
Yeah. And I was without the penalties, we'd be good.
Yeah. If we didn't take 3 penalties in a row, we'd be fine. But I even wrote down for the Canadiens game that my father-in-law was saying that the Canadiens play like we did, right? And play like we do. At our best, the Canadiens and the Lightning look very similar, right? Where we're on the forecheck. What did they say a few weeks ago? Like, playing defense on their toes, where they're just really invested. But we look so similar, and I think that's where the playoffs come into play, where, like, you're playing so similarly that we're looking for that emotion, that fire to differentiate us from the rest of the teams, right? Because I think compared to last year and a few years before that where we've lost, we've gotten absolutely beat down. Right. And I feel like we're so focused on trying to not get beat down and beat other people down that obviously we're not going to produce the offense that we produced in like 2019 or like 2018 just out of thin air because we're really focused on something else. So, I mean, I even wrote in here too, like, there are players who have to put the team on their back. Like, Hagel had to put the team on the back during the Predators game, and JoJo. Right? He had a great performance.
He did. He was great.
Lilleberg had to put the team on his back somehow during the Senators game, right? I mean, he had 3 points, and that guy doesn't score points.
Well, maybe he will. Lilleberg is another guy, like Gage Gonzalez, where I'm just staking my claim with him.
I'm on the Lilleberg train. I'm not going to lie to you.
So my oldest brother, he's a diehard hockey fan. He grew up playing hockey. Like, of all of my brothers, he is the most hockey oriented. And so we talk all the time. He's not a big Lilleberg guy.
Yeah.
Or he wasn't. I haven't got the update since the 3-point night. You never know. Maybe he's converted. But I've been talking to him since we've had Lilleberg. Lilleberg is the guy. And honestly, I see a lot of...
really well.
I see John Cooper show some preference to Emil Lilleberg. Where he's struggling in a similar way. Do you know how Anthony Cirelli is like John Cooper's guy? Have you ever heard that before?
Not really. That's
been reported before, not necessarily like
I know he likes him
directly, but yeah, it's kind of like understood. There's a belief that Cirelli is John Cooper's guy. Like he's got a lot of trust in Cirelli, and it's great. And I make the argument specifically to my older brother that I think Emil Lilleberg has some of that from John Cooper too. Like I think there's trust for whatever reason.
What tells you that?
Well, Emil Lilleberg isn't always the 3-point, 5-hit, 2-block performance. Yeah. And so when he does play bad, and Bolts Nation, you guys, you can write into us, you can tell us, but there's been a lot of, like, Emil Lilleberg should be benched. Emil Lilleberg, like, shouldn't be playing these minutes. And he doesn't really get benched. I mean, we've missed him a lot this year because he's been injured, but for the most part, when he's healthy, he's in the game.
Yeah.
And now we see him playing these big minutes, and so it's like, why? And
with the cage.
Right, with the cage. Yeah.
I almost feel like, interestingly enough, that you're saying that, because I didn't know that about Cirelli or about Lilleberg. Maybe that makes me a fake fan. I don't know that.
Nothing. I'm not saying Lilleberg does have John Cooper's trust. I'm just saying it could be a scenario like that. Because he seems to have a longer leash than even someone like Darren Radish last year, or the beginning of this year. Like, he was often scratched. And different types of players, different needs, sure. Yeah. But I often think maybe John Cooper extends a longer leash for Lilleberg.
I mean, I feel like if I'm thinking about Lilleberg, I actually think of a defensive defenseman, right? Yeah. And he has been probably one of the most, if not the most, physical defenseman on our team since he came back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about the stats for like hits or whatever,
right?
But I mean, he's been. I just think of the McDavid play, right? McDavid's on the power play. He's skating through the middle of the ice.
That's one of the best
Edmonton.
Highlights of the year.
And he absolutely destroys Connor McDavid, who everybody's always said, like, he's trying to do it on his own. But frankly, sometimes he has to do it on his own. McDavid does. And so...
because he doesn't have anybody.
He's cutting through the middle of the ice. He gets destroyed by Lilleberg. You know, Mosier makes the incredible pass over to Kucherov, shorthanded goal, right? I mean, an amazing moment that I remember sitting on the couch with my wife and just watching the game. And, like, I literally jumped out of my seat. Like, I freaked out. I was like, what is happening right now? Yeah. Like, what just happened? Right. So, I mean, moments like that are honestly what make me, like, I love the Lightning. Like, I love watching hockey. Like, things can change just like that. Like, the best players in the league just had a 1-2 punch. And frankly, McDavid kind of got punched, and then Kucherov punched back with the shorty. So it was like that was a moment.
First career shorthanded goal.
I know, and nobody knew it. And I watched. I don't know if you watched this, but there was an interview with Julie Stewart-Banks where she got that information, but she didn't know if it was true because it was so unbelievable.
Right, I think I did.
Did you see this?
Yeah, she's trying to verify.
Yeah, but she couldn't verify it, and so she literally goes into the mid-intermission, or the intermission interview with Mosier, I think.
Yeah,
and
JJ Mosier.
Yeah, and says something like, I don't know. Oh, that was his first shorthanded goal, and Mosier was like, "What?" And she said in that whatever interview it was, she had in the back of her mind, "I really hope this is true."
I think that was the Block Party.
Was that the Block Party?
I think it was the Block Party.
Block Party or Into the Blue or one of those podcasts. One of them. But anyways, I thought that was hilarious and crazy. But is there anything else about the games that you feel like is kind of important for the last week, especially just, I mean, bad starts, of course, all around. We're managing to get points, playing better, clearly, since we played in Seattle, at Seattle a few weeks ago. But otherwise, I mean, I talked about Lilleberg, talking about, JoJo's performance was really good. He deserved a shutout, I thought, during his game against the Predators.
I think the only thing with the games, like, what I'm seeing as a fan, and this is an expert opinion, but what I see is...
None of this is expert opinion.
No. This is fan podcast. Fan podcast. I just see when we're engaged physically, right? That's when we're at our best. And that's what Corey Perry said when we have emotion.
Hits?
Well, hits...
What does emotion look like in the game? As you're watching as a fan,
sure.
What does emotion look like to you?
It looks like a lot of things. If I'm boiling it down to one, it's the forecheck.
Yeah.
So I want to see... And I call them the Hounds. So Zemgus Girgensons, Yanni Gord, and Pontus Holmberg. Yep, the Hounds. That's what I call them. And we start to hear that in local media too.
I
love it. The Hounds. But they're always forechecking, right?
Yeah.
That's why John Cooper trusts them so much too.
And they're paired against top lines, right? They're almost always matched up against top lines.
They're disrupting plays. And so being engaged isn't necessarily just forecheck. Like, it takes getting back to it. Takes being effective on your reads. It takes skating with some oomph. Yeah,
it sounds like skating. I think I mentioned to you that there was a game. What was it? I think it was the Senators, where we were just standing around.
Yes.
Was it the Senators game?
I think it was actually the Montreal game. That you were talking about.
Whatever.
But I don't know. One of them. We have done it a lot.
We have done it a lot lately, especially with the bad starts, where we're standing around, and it almost sounds like when you're saying emotional, you're saying the complete opposite of just standing around.
No, it means you're in the game.
You're moving, you're forechecking, you're being physical, you're fighting, you're crashing the net after plays, which usually brings people getting mad, right? And that brings some of that energy and that fire. And so I think that's good, right? That's good. But
I'll share one more interesting stat, and then we can kind of move on.
Yeah.
So in Bolts Breakdown blog, this past Monday, which came out, I found these interesting stats that I'll share. And so
you always do, by the way.
I like to find it. That's the goal of Bolts Breakdown, is to help people find these stats. But it showed when the Lightning are out hit by more than 9. So the other team is out hitting the Lightning by more than 9. Yeah, they're just basically getting bodied.
They're getting bodied.
Yeah.
They're getting bodied. Okay.
Their record is phenomenal. It's 21-5-2 or something. When they have games where they're out hit by 9. Yeah. Or when they lose the face-off battle by more than 6 draws. So they have 28 wins, we have 20 wins, right? Yeah. So something more than 6. It's 13-1-1, like our record is.
So when we're down,
right,
stats-wise, we're in it.
Right, and there's an argument, for sure. The better team, the team that's ahead, is going to get hit more as the other team tries to catch up. They're going to lose more face-offs as the other team has desperation. But like in the Edmonton game last week, we were out-hit 21-6, and we were before we had the lead. So it wasn't like they were chasing us and hitting us. We were just being out-hit.
Yeah.
Edmonton was playing on their toes, and frankly, they were giving it to us a little bit. And then we took off, right? And then we took off, and we obviously won 5-2. And like the highlight we talked about, Emil Lilleberg dumps Connor McDavid.
Yeah, I mean, he plays physical, right? Yeah,
so it's are they waiting to just kind of be stirred and provoked to where they get involved? I don't know.
Maybe. They're just looking for some of that emotion or energy somewhere. And I feel like the Predators game might be a good example too, because they were outshot 10-1 in the first period.
Yeah, brutal.
But everybody was oh, it was terrible. I watched the game and I was like, it didn't look that bad. Maybe that was me being delusional, but Hagel had the post in the first period, right? The double dink or doink, whatever you want to call it. And we didn't look as bad as I thought. I think both teams looked kind of bad, and yet they had the shots on goal. But I think stuff like that, where the stats are against us, or it feels like the ice is tilted against us, is where the team right now, in the past month or so maybe, has looked at its best. It's the ice is tilted against us, because we've still won those games. We've still gotten points out of those games. Versus I feel like during the other losing streaks, when we're down, we're out, right? And we're down 2 goals a lot after the Olympic break, and we lost a lot of games. Right. But I feel like now where we are, which hopefully is where we stay with the playoffs, we can kind of figure out how to, even when the ice is tilted against us, to still make it back, which leads me to the playoffs.
Sure.
And I feel like we need to have a forecast of what's going to happen, what's going on. First of all, as I think about the playoffs, I'm reminded of my own feelings of the whole regular season to playoff transition, which you know how I feel about this.
Sure.
Right? You even mentioned that, okay, we're going to talk about the playoffs. And I'm like, okay, we'll talk about the playoffs, but I always feel like the playoffs are not the regular season, personally.
No, it's a completely
different game.
No other sport is as drastically different from regular season to postseason.
Yeah, I think that the NFL is, I mean, football in general, there are lots of sports where they have a one and done kind of a thing, right? And I think you have to be on your 100% game every single game, and so do you have to in the Stanley Cup playoffs too. But I also feel like there is such a shift in momentum in those games and throughout the series that our terrible 2019 series is, once it starts shifting one way, that's why I'm concerned about or not concerned, actually maybe I'm happy that the Lightning, even though the ice is tilted against them, they're still winning games, because I think that's a cue to me that maybe we're going to be ready to fight when we're down in playoff games or series.
Right.
Personally. So what do you think about playoffs as they're coming up? I mean, I have my own things. I have some predictions about where we're going to land.
Sure.
And who is going to get in. I don't know if you want those right now.
Or we'll get into them.
Okay.
Just talking about playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. And I think tying it back to the game last night.
Are you going to playoffs, by the way?
Yeah, we have season tickets for the playoffs. So
you do, really?
Yeah. We're going to go, and if we're not at the game, like if we sell the tickets, we're going to be like Thunder Alley. Like, we're going to be there.
You'll
have
be
to
somewhere.
Be there,
You'll be close. You guys live close. So
Yeah.
I mean, you'll be there. Okay.
So playoffs. I think last night's loss to Montreal.
Yeah.
I think it's helpful because I think more growth happens in the loss. Like if we would have won that game, it would have been bring confidence to the fans. Like, yeah, we can beat this playoff team, but ultimately the Bolts are going to be better because they lost, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to learn from it. They're going to grow. And when it comes to playoffs, they're going to be more dialed in, knowing the consequences that taking 3 penalties in a row is going to have, right? Yeah. So we're going to learn from this stuff. And I truly believe the Bolts will be ready for playoffs. And I think some of the slow starts that you see is because there's confidence in the group. I think there's such confidence in that room.
Slow start equals confidence?
Well, not necessarily. I think the confidence, not that it causes them to slow start.
Yeah.
But if you know 100% certainty that you can do something, and somebody says you have to do it 20 more times before it actually matters, it's going to get a little monotonous.
That's true.
It is.
But, I mean, when does that turn into cockiness of, like, we're kind of we feel like we're going to be okay, we're going to win the games no matter what, right? So how do you differentiate that as a fan?
That's where John Cooper, that it lies on John Cooper's shoulders, that his team can't get too confident where they are the 2019 team that we don't like to talk about, you know?
Yeah, well, that's why he's on them right now, because I think they've gotten to the point where he's saying those are terrible periods. That's really bad hockey. But he's also said fatigue plays a huge part, right? Fatigue does play a part mentally, physically.
I was going to ask, do you think it's more mental or physical when he's talking about
mean,
fatigue?
I heard Michigan say this recently of, like, I think it's more mental than physical. That you're there every single night and you have to somehow become emotional every single night. And honestly, takes a toll on you. Like, mentally takes a toll on you, on, like, your freaking heart, right? Like, your heart rate's going up and down and you're, like, freaking out every single night trying to fight people, or every other night, which they're playing a lot more. Now, as a fan, I can't lie, I love turning on the TV every other night.
Yeah,
and
let's play back-to-backs every night, right? No.
So, but it's just not realistic for the longevity of it, and it does feel like playoffs somehow is going to be a little bit of a reprieve somehow. I don't know. That sounds crazy to say, but the fact that they're going to have, breaks and maybe even multiple days between games tells me, like, this might actually be better for us than this grind that we've had.
Yeah, you talking about, like, when we advance from the first round?
No. I'm talking about, like, when we get
into
usually
it'll be every other night. Still
yeah, it
in
will
the playoffs.
be. But if we're traveling,
right?
Is it every other night if we're traveling too?
Usually, sometimes in the first round we get a double break, but it's kind of rare. I mean, it depends. Maybe. I haven't looked too much into the schedule.
Well, that's another thing I wrote, was that we're not going to get any breaks till the season ends.
Right. We are every other night.
Every other night
until April 15th.
And that brings me to the predictions of who I think is going to get in, because I was looking at the standings today.
Let's close with that. Where do you think the Lightning will land? Well, who's going to be our first round matchup? Are we going to be first? Okay. First in the Atlantic, first in our division, third?
So, bold prediction.
Yep.
Bold prediction.
Let's hear it.
Is I say we finish second. I'm being realistic.
Second.
We're going to finish second
in the division.
Second in the division. And I think we play Buffalo.
Oh, my goodness.
So I think we play Buffalo.
So Montreal is first?
So that's my prediction.
All
okay,
right.
Listen, I think Montreal is on a heater right now. The way that they played against us tells me that they are no joke for the regular season. And once we get there, first of all, I kind of would love to see Bolts and Sabres at some point, except maybe Eastern Conference Final and not, like, first round. However, that would be an amazing series and super fun. I mean, the 8-7 loss was another fuel. I think will fuel us if we do play the Sabres.
Sure.
But that's my prediction. I think we finish second. I think Buffalo finishes third. I think Montreal finishes first. And I do think another bold prediction maybe is that I think the Flyers will be the second wild card team that gets in.
The Flyers are going to get in.
So I think the Flyers. Now, the Flyers in their last 10 games, I'm pretty sure, what is it? We have it right here. Of their last 10 games,
they are 7-2-1.
The 7-2-1.
So they're on a hot streak, but they lost last night.
They have 15 points, right, in their last 10 games.
Sure.
and I feel like they're going to continue that streak. And now they may lose steam when they hit the playoffs, but that's just my prediction, right? I got to make some hot takes, some bold takes,
sure.
right? Of where I think the Flyers will be that team. I think we'll finish second. I think we'll play Buffalo. I think Montreal is going to go on a streak here. And yeah, that's just where I see us going.
Well, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. But here, I'll give mine and then we'll close this out.
Okay.
I think the Lightning will be first in the Atlantic Division. I think we will be second in the Eastern Conference.
Okay.
So I think that's going to give us a wild card one matchup with the Boston Bruins. So I think if you look at the standings right now, it's Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Montreal.
Yep.
And then in the Metro, it's Carolina, Pittsburgh, New York, Islanders.
Yep.
And then it's Boston and Columbus in the 1 and 2 spot.
Yep.
I think that's how it's going to stay.
You think it's going to stay exactly?
Yeah, I think Ottawa is the team that could kind of mess it up, but Columbus is a great team, and Ottawa is the good team too. But Ullmark is just Linus Ullmark, the goaltender for Ottawa, I don't think has it. So I think it's going to stay as is right now on April 1st.
Listen, you're going to keep it easy for yourself. You just have to look at the standings.
I think the Lightning will be second, and I think we'll take it to Boston. I think, what if we get a Vasi Swayman fight again? It won't happen.
No,
it will not happen.
No, it won't. No.
Hey, thank you for watching Bolts Breakdown. This is the first episode. We're going to evolve. We're going to grow as we go. But if you like this, if you want to engage more with us, we want to hear from you. So you can find us on X at Bolts Breakdown. You can find us on Substack at Bolts Breakdown.
And when are we going to have our episodes?
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday from here on out. You can expect to hear us just kind of dialogue about the Lightning.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do, and we want to make this more accessible. This being the Lightning, right? We are just fans. We just love the team.
Yeah.
And I know you guys do too. Bolts Nation is very passionate. So engage with us. Help us grow this podcast. If you want to hear different segments, let us know. And we're going to continue to release these every Wednesday. But thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
All right.